Here we are in Tamil Nadu. We have a nuclear plant in South Kanyakumari district. Now, every time you start the work, there is a protest in the name of some in climate, some about the fallout, non-safety. And we realize that this money actually trail, those who are active here, nobody comes out of hungry stomach in the field to do it. So there has to be a support. The money trails goes to those entities in the foreign country, Europe, US, different countries, from where the money is being sent for these activities. In Northeast, every year there are shell entities sitting in Europe and US. They were sending more than 250 crore every year in the Northeast for conversion purposes. Now take the case of Sterlite. This in Thuttukudi. It was a purely foreign funded entire activities which led to the protest, unfortunate police firing, and that cost innocent lives. That is a very sad part of it. But they wanted this Sterlite to be closed because that Sterlite produced 40% of our copper need. We have fraternity. Haha. But this is all a label for getting all the money to create a problem, terrorist activity. All these people from India, whether from Kerala, from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, they went to ISIS, Islamic State, to Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. Most of 90% of them were through PFI. Some of them were receiving this FCRA, and the donors were sitting in foreign country. They were sending money for activities which were prejudicial, which were anti-national in nature. China, we have a serious concern with China, but we are not, actually if you come to think of it, we are not dependent on China in that way. We can take a hard decision and say, no, we will not import anything from China. We can take that. Only thing is, we have to pay higher price somewhere else. For example, even today, if you come to think of a pure commercial term, because the only thing where our relation with China is essentially in the trade and commerce. We have export-import. Our balance of trade is in favor of China. Our trade is almost more than $140 billion. What we import from China is only a fraction of what it is much larger than what we export. What we export to China is a small, because China puts a lot of restrictions in giving access to Indian products and services to China. Being a member of the WTO, they are not supposed to do it. So legally they will not put any objection, but procedurally they create a problem. For example, let us say, under WTO they cannot stop us if we are sending something. Let us say we are pretty good in pharmaceutical. India is considered pharmacy of the world. So when we send our pharmaceutical, they will say they will test it. After all, every country tests it. When we also get some drug from somewhere, we also test it. But in the testing procedure, there will be long delay, years together. What do you call here? Bureaucratic delay. They put that as a deterrent, so that our manufacturer of medicine has sent the medicine, but before the medicine is offloaded from the ship, from the warehouse goes, they will say they need to verify, they need to test, and the testing will take a long time. Sometimes what they do, a perishable. If you send perishable, their procedural verification will take you 1 month. By the time everything is rotten, spoiled. What do you do? So adopting these devious means, they have been trying to deny access to market access to some of our products. We are very good in pharmaceutical, in IT services. We are, but they will. We know that, and we are taking it up regularly. That dialogue is on. One area where we had a serious dependence, if you say that is called API. Do you know what is API? In any drug, the basic ingredient is that chemical called API. In any medicine. India was producing large API before. But once China started producing it, it became cheaper. So we stopped API industry here, API manufacturing in India. When we stopped API manufacturing in India, we started only importing from China because it was cheaper. And then we realized some years back that if China by some reason stops giving us the API, let's say for antibiotic, our pharmaceutical companies will not be able to produce antibiotic. And imagine, if we do not have antibiotic, what will happen? Imagine, it will be a total disaster. And then, we as a matter of policy, we are now aggressively pushing towards manufacturing of API in India, reducing our dependence on that, China. This is a strategic dependence we had. Now we have reduced it because they were the largest API manufacturer in the world. They being the cheap, the whole world started buying from them only. Larger part of the world, and so did we. So we have now, that was a strategic dependence. Now I gave an example of earth mover. Earth mover is not a strategic dependence. We can put it and stop it. No, we'll buy from Germany, fine. We'll pay the price. But that will be taking us a cost, putting a cost on us. But when medicine, the basic ingredient of medicine, which is API, we don't have, it will cost lives. Millions and millions of people will die. So that a strategic dependence we have reduced, and we are coming out of it. We have started big way, giving push to our people to manufacture API. So we don't have much dependence on China. No. Next.
Mr. Deepak.
Sir, our government has transformed from soft state to the state willing to take risks. However, recent steps like tightening of FCR Act has got its criticism from the West. How do you see this criticism, sir?
Look, FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. This is an act of parliament that any entity, individual or entity, that is organization, that receives foreign contribution from foreign country, if it is a one-time contribution, there is no need for registration. But if it is a regular remittance, regular coming, then it has to have, that entity must have a registration done with the Home Ministry, Union Home Ministry. Now, this is one area through which the money comes from foreign country, foreign sources to India. Not to government, it is to non-government entities. What we realized, that a number of NGOs, they were receiving FCRA grant, remittances, not called grant, remittances, thousands of crores, not one, brags, 100 crore, 50 crore, 20 crore, 10 crore, but we have several 100,000 NGOs. Some of them were receiving this FCRA, and the donors were sitting in foreign country. They were sending money for activities which were prejudicial, which were anti-national in nature. Now, for example, let us say, here we are in Tamil Nadu. We have a nuclear plant in South, Kanyakumari district. Now, every time you start the work, there is a protest in the name of some in climate, some about the fallout, non-safety. And we realize that this money actually trail, those who are active here, nobody comes out of hungry stomach in the field to do it. So there has to be a support. The money trails goes to those entities in the foreign country, Europe, US, different countries, from where the money is being sent for these activities. So sometimes in the name of human rights, sometimes in the name of climate or green, environment, different names. For example, let us say in Northeast, every year there are shell entities sitting in Europe and US. They were sending more than 250 crore every year in the Northeast for conversion purposes. Now, should we allow that? Should there be a check? Should there be okay, there is no harm. You get foreign money, right? But it should not be used for a purpose which is harmful to our national interest. So for a very long time, this regulation was not, it was taken for granted that you can take money from anywhere you get it. This is a formality. At the most, there is some corruption element involved. You pay some money to some staff here and there and get the registration. But in the process, our country started bleeding. Amnesty International, it has a big name, Amnesty International, sitting in Bangalore. They were receiving money and they were creating hurdles for many of our projects, national projects. You must have read in the newspaper, Vedinjam port. The port to land connectivity, it suffered 1 year plus. That people did not allow sitting on the road. No, we will not allow you to, because this port will destroy the marine life and the fisherman livelihood will be affected. Experts, National Green Tribunal, Supreme Court, everyone have said it is not going to affect. It is not going to affect the marine life. It is not going to affect the livelihood. But construction will not be allowed. And those who were doing, they were getting money from abroad. Now it gave a setback. Today, at this point of time, when our country is rising, country is growing, progressing, you will have more and more pressure. There was a question of radicalization. Today, the foreign elements are not in a position to take on India directly. So our vulnerability is within. Create issues, create disharmony, create a situation which just stops the progress. Create tensions, create riots. Now take the case of Sterlite. There's in Thoothukudi. It was a purely foreign funded entire activities which led to the protest, unfortunate police firing, and that cost innocent lives. That is a very sad part of it. But they wanted this Sterlite to be closed because that Sterlite produced 40% of our copper need. And you know how copper is important for electronic industry. They closed it. Even now it remains closed, 10 years down the line. And all those people, those who were behind, they were getting FCRA, foreign contribution. Now, we said no. We need to be strict about it. We must be. It is not as strict, even today my view is as it should be, but it's in the process. Criticism will be there. That's okay. People have freedom, constitutional right to protest and say something. That is perfectly all right. Government has to do its job. Government has to ensure that our national interests are protected. And anything that goes against that purposefully is meant to inhibit or retard our growth and create a problem, disharmony. So radicalization, what you see today, which is happening, they are also foreign funded mostly. If you look at the PFI, Popular Front of India, most of the fund it comes from outside. They have created India Fraternity Forum, India Fraternity Front. Very nice, very good name, isn't it? India Fraternity, haha. But this is all a label for getting all the money to create a problem, terrorist activity. All these people from India, whether from Kerala, from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, they went to ISIS, Islamic State, to Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. Most of 90% of them were through PFI. And they get money, FCRA comes. No, it is not acceptable. So, criticism will be there. After all, it is a freedom. You can criticize it. Next.
Mr. Mano Venkat.
Hi, sir. So, what are all the qualities you seem that aspirant should have and a good bureaucrat should have? What are all the qualities?
Aspirant, I have said right at the beginning, you must be self-disciplined, must be focused. Self-discipline means self-discipline in your day-to-day life, your time management, your health management. Those things are most important. And as far as aspirants are concerned, there is nothing more I see. Hard work, discipline. Take care of health and study well. As a civil servant, there are more needs because you have already crossed it. You don't have to 14 hours, you have to study. But then, the most important quality that a civil servant must have, if they don't have already, is humility. You must be humble. You get suddenly from nobody, you become somebody, big bird. Nobody takes note, oh, so many people are there. Suddenly you become an IS officer and IPO. That should not get into your head. You are here to serve. You must be somewhere thankful to all those, because many people, suppose if out of millions, if 1,000 or 800 people are selected, that doesn't mean the rest are all useless. No, they are also brilliant, equally brilliant, maybe more brilliant. But somehow they couldn't make it. Be humble. In the office where you are, the person who gives you water or a clerk who gives you papers, they also graduate or also human being. Maybe some of them or your subordinate also might have written examination, bad luck, couldn't make it. Realize that what you have cracked is your effort, but there were not many, your parents, your friends, circumstances, or maybe some unknown person at some point of time met you and told you something which hit you and you started working. So count the blessings, be humble, have the humility. A person who comes and offers you a glass of water in your office, be thankful to him. Don't say, okay, I am Sahib. No, that's not. Humility and sense of service. It gives you an opportunity. You look at it as a job. Okay, fine. Or look at it as a rare opportunity to serve. If you look at it as a rare opportunity to serve, then of course it has a different flavor. You enjoy it much more. Humility. Yes. Next.
Basava.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is, Red Corridor has been continuously shrinking. What had gone right in handling Maoist, which is different from previous policies?
Maoist, right? There was a time when Maoist all over. There were almost 185 districts were affected. We're talking about Red Corridor from south going to Jharkhand, going to Nepal. There was a time when UPA 2 regime, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said, this is the most serious threat to our country. And today they are nowhere. Just a few small here margin. Some pockets of Chhattisgarh, maybe small pocket of Gadchiroli. Very marginal presence in Jharkhand and all. Odisha. Not. Primarily because this government made it very clear that no, zero tolerance to gun. Earlier we were saying they are our people. After all, they have lost the way. Try to bring them. The point is, when the cell of your body becomes cancerous, you don't say it is a part of my body. It is a part of your body, but it will kill the rest. You need radiotherapy. You need to. You cannot. We have to draw a line. No. If you have a problem, gun is not an answer. You cannot pick up gun. And if you pick up with a gun, it's zero tolerance. We'll deal with it. So earlier they should have a talk. Engage them. No. They were the worst enemy of development. They did not allow roads to be built, hospitals to be built, schools to be opened. They didn't allow that. So we said, fuck. No question, deal with. That is one, on the ground. Second is, there were a lot of people who were supporting, many of them through FCRA money, sitting in cities. Delhi was a hotbed. Universities, in the name of freedom of expression, ideologue, Maoist supporter. They were professors. They were people. Very, very, well-known, otherwise well-known NGOs. Saying them as if they have a development deficit. Because there is no development, they are angry. Because forest is being denuded and they are not being accessed, exploitation is happening so. These were all people who were actually providing them ideological and moral support. And also at times when they were in trouble, they escaped and took to, when you come to Delhi, nobody thinks of Delhi will not be Maoist. Maoists are in Chhattisgarh. But those people who were wanted, they were living in the houses of professors and others in Delhi. And operating from there. So the question is the foot soldier alone to be blamed, not the general or the mastermind? Then we realize this urban Naxalism has to go. People sitting in urban area and providing them ideological, moral and other support, they are equally responsible. And so we started. And even the courts have defended the actions of the government. When they went to the court questioning it, court said, no, fine, you are guilty. So with clarity that, and what the Maoists say? Maoists don't say about development. The very core of Maoism is don't believe in parliamentary democracy. Means they don't believe in our constitution. They don't believe in parliament. They want a different kind of China-like. Now, how can you have a soft corner or negotiate with them? You cannot. So we must have a clarity in mind how to deal with. We have a clarity. As a result, all these areas we have got roads, we got hospitals, we got schools, development work is going on. And they have just shrunk. A small pocket, and that is a last breath, gasping for breath. They will also go. So the fundamental difference is with a clarity. Zero tolerance to gun. They are ideological supporters. And moral other supporters also are part of it. They are equally culpable. They are also responsible. They are being charged and booked. Things have brought down.